What's up guys, it's Aiden, and today we're going to go through how Travis Scott's I Know was made. Let's get into the video. I Know was the 10th track off of Travis Scott's latest long-anticipated album, Utopia, and the track was produced by OZ, Coleman, Travis Scott himself, Buddy Ross, and 206 Derek. And as always, the FLP and the stems for this project, as well as all my other projects, will be available to my Patreon supporters if you're interested in supporting the channel. I want to start today off with some good news. We have 2 other remakes complete from Utopia. These are My Eyes and Meltdown. If you're watching this video in the first 24 hours after it's been posted, you can decide which remake comes first by voting on Instagram. Anyway, let's jump into the video. To remake I Know, you're going to need to know 4 different pillars to this instrumental. These are the piano, the drums, the 808, and the really weird sound effects. And hopefully by the end of the video, I'll be able to play this remake over my speakers and pick it up on Shazam as the original song. Let's start off with the piano. The preset we're using for the piano is the Modern Upright Time Flies preset within Addictive Keys, and we're going to be playing this melody. It has this nice little back and forth. It's interesting to me because the transition from C minor to B flat minor is non-diatonic. Non-diatonic meaning that no note within the C minor scale contains the B flat minor chord. So it's a slightly unconventional chord progression. Then we're layering in a bass piano, which you can find within Keyscape. It is the Rhodes Bass Piano Deep preset. Then the piano melody switches up. That's it for the piano. Next up we have the really complicated sound effect, which let's go through this now. I'll show you exactly how we did this because I feel like we did a pretty good job. The original sample is going to sound like this. And first off, we're going to go into the piano roll. We're going to go to snap to grid, make sure we're on 4th step, and then we're just going to drag this all the way to the end of bar 5. It's going to sound very wrong so far. Then we're going to go to the note fine pitch. So go to control, note fine pitch, and we're going to bring this down from 0 cents down to -500 cents, or 5 semitones. So it's going to start off 5 semitones lower and come up. We're going to select all the notes and we're going to go Alt-R, and we're going to bring the panning up 100% and turn on bipolar. And that's going to sound like this now. It's going to sound pretty weird if you're wearing headphones. I told you this was a crazy effect. Let's go back into the audio clip and let's go to the envelope/instrument settings and make this envelope with the attack and the release at 30% and the sustain at 100%. Now it's going to sound like this. Slowly getting closer, as you can hear. Then we're going to right click on the start offset and go create automation clip. And we're going to be making this automation clip. And this is going to automate the point at which the sound starts playing, which is a really interesting effect when you're playing it at this sort of quarter speed. Which is a really interesting effect. And as you can see, it comes back the other way. After all that, we're adding this to the mixer. We're going to be adding some compression to make the sound more leveled out as it plays, then some heavy reverb, and we're going to be automating the mix. So as you can see, it goes from 100% down to 0 by the end. Finally, we're going to be adding some OTT for some multi-band compression, and this is the final result. Next up, we have the drums, and we have an absolutely crazy amount of drums to go through for this beat. Make sure you have Fruity Soft Clipper on the master because we're going to get some clipping going on. Let's start off with the kick. We have the BWB 21st Kit 30 kick. This was the most close sounding and looking sample I could find to the original song. The original hi-hat is the Keith Perk 7 low hat. We're bringing up the out, the in, and bringing up the sample start. And instead of playing it at C, we're playing it up at F. Then we have the snare sample, which is the BWB The Wave Snare 23. And this plays together really nicely with the kick. the open hat, which is the Boom and Perk 21. And this plays two different patterns, one up at C and one down at F sharp 4. As you can see, the second open hat kind of accents the first one, adds a little bit more spice to the hi-hat progression, which I really like. Then we have the cowbell sound. Some of these sounds have a nice little delayed second appearance. We have two different, very similar sounding cowbells that both accent each other quite nicely in the mix. First one. Second one sounds a little bit more strange, and they're going to sound like this. Next up, we have the rim shot, and this is the identical rim shot, which is the BWB Wave X Rim 20. Was really happy that I found this rim shot. It's really clean, and this plays very frequently throughout the song. It's going to sound like this. I think this really helped to make it stand out as one of the more popular songs off of Utopia. More sounds coming in. We have this pop sound. One final rim shot coming in, which is going to sound like this. Super weird looking waveform on this one, everything so far. As you can hear, this percussive loop is becoming so complex, but it all works together really nicely. It's all synergizing. That's why OZ got the bounce. We have one more percussive sound. This one was actually the easiest one to find. It was also identical, which was the hit one hi-hat sample, which is the most common hi-hat sample in trap music. So when I heard this, I was instantly able to pick up on this sound. That plays along with the rim shot. So that's the incredibly complicated drum loop that you can find in I Know. Many of them are the identical samples. Some of them are very similar samples. So once again, if you want to check out the samples, they're on our Patreon page. Then we have the 808 coming in. Plays two different patterns which correspond to the piano. First one is relatively simple. This was the Spins 808. This sample was all over Utopia. Many of the songs actually use the Spins 808, or they've distorted it in some way. I think this song used a little bit of distortion. Too much. I like these little melodic accents. Definitely adds more bounce to the mix. One final preset before we come to the end result. This is a string preset from Omnisphere. It is the Studiotron strings, which personally I would expect this was done after Travis did his vocals, because it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for this instrumental, but once Travis's vocals come in, these strings work so nicely along with the instrumental. So it's going to sound like this. Anyway, this is the end result. That's it for the remake today. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the Shazam comparison. At least you know that I'm not faking it. There are some videos where it doesn't work. Here's my promise though. I'm not posting the next video unless we guarantee a Shazam comparison. So the next video, by the way, is going to be either Meltdown or My Eyes, and it's going to have to be Shazam worthy. Otherwise, I'm just never going to post another video to YouTube again. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this remake from Travis Scott's latest album, make sure to check out our other remake on his latest album so far, which is Fiend, right up there. And also make sure to vote on the next Utopia remake that we're doing. Looking forward to see you guys there, and I'll talk to you guys next time.